Welcome to the Options Configuration lecture. In this lecture, we will cover how to open the Options menu and configure the game for optimal play. It is important to note that these are general recommendations, and that as you play the game over time, you will develop your own distinct style of gameplay that may favor some settings over others. However, for new players, this is a good first start. You can access the Options menu from the port screen by pressing the Escape key or by clicking the Options menu button shown here. Once the game menu has loaded, click the Settings button. You will now be presented with the Options menu. In the Graphics tab, you can adjust the visual output settings of the game. These settings will have different effects based on the power of your computer system and processor, so experiment with them to ensure you're getting the best balance of power and presentability for your gameplay experience. The General section shown here will allow you to adjust non-specific graphical options, such as the display monitor, the resolution, aspect ratio, and the window presentation. It is a good idea to turn on vertical synchronization at this time to prevent screen tearing. In the graphics settings, you can adjust the specific graphics quality of the game. The optimal settings for these options will depend upon the power of your integrated or installed graphics systems, so experiment to find what options work best for you. The optimal settings will be those that allow you to play at 60 frames per second minimum to optimize your performance in the game. You can also adjust the color filters used in the game in the event that you are colorblind. In fact, if you are colorblind, it is recommended that you adjust these settings as expediently as possible to maximize your efficiency in the game. This section also allows you to view the color designation of player ships in matches, so take a moment to familiarize yourself with these codings. The supported colorblind settings are deuteranopia, protanopia, and tritanopia. The colorblind filter can be further adjusted via the intensity slider below the options. Experiment to find the best settings for you. In the Audio tab, you can adjust the volume and mix of game sounds and music, as well as adjusting the music modes, interface volume, and voice chat settings. In the audio settings, you can adjust the general volume level, music volume, and sound effect volume independently. Regardless of how high your music and sound effect volume is, it will be limited by the general volume you select. The sound quality is also adjustable at this menu. The voiceover language may be changed here, and the voiceover may be set to one language all the time, or set to correspond to the nation of the ship that you have selected. The music mode may also be changed here, as well as adjusting independent sliders for interface, engine, voice message, and gunfire volume. It is important to note that this game is quite loud, so a recommendation is to decrease the volume to compensate for this. You can also adjust the settings of the voice chat in this menu, to both enable and disable the voice chat, as well as to change the input and output settings as needed. Finally, the Controls tab will allow you to adjust the controls used in the game. These lectures will assume that you are using the standard setup of controls, with a few important exceptions. To begin with, make sure that your battle camera options resemble those shown here. This is to ensure that there is maximum coherency between your battle camera, your crosshairs, and your guns. You may invert your Y-axis at this time if you prefer. Below the battle camera, make sure to adjust your mouse sensitivity and to choose an appropriate crosshair. For this tutorial, we will be using the static crosshair Type 1. You may choose a different crosshair as you become more familiar with the game. Finally, in the lower part of the controls menu, make sure that the terrain hit indicator is set to on. Make sure that the collision avoidance system is set to off, and the alternative battle interface mode is set to full. Other important things that you should enable are the main battery and torpedo loading indicators, detailed ribbons, time in port, smokescreen boundaries, damage indicator, and the smokescreen timer. These are the settings that we will be using for the remainder of the lecture series. Make sure to ask questions in the comments below if you need any help setting up your game client. Thank you for listening. We hope to see you in other lectures, but for now, thank you.